What's good? How y'all doing this evening? Welcome back to the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast, Rivalry Week show. Tonight we're going to be previewing the game versus Tech versus Pitt or Pittsburgh. It all depends on who the athletic director up there at in the Three River Valley. I got my co-host with me, King. What's good, man?
What's good, Don? How was your day today, bro?
Hey, man, I can't complain, man. It was a great day. A great day today. I can't complain.
Horrible Wednesday for me, brother.
Hey, look, as long as you got breath pumping in your lungs, man, hey, that's all it's a good day.
True to that, brother. True to that.
Exactly. All right, we got a special guest on right now. Cohen, what's good, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Happy to be here.
All right, let everybody know who you are and where they can find you.
Yeah, so my name is Corey Cohen. I am a play-by-play announcer for mostly soccer and basketball, but also I'm an alum of the University of Pittsburgh, Pitt, as we call it. Former athletic director didn't, but that's what most people do. And I host a podcast called Unscripted on the Cardiac Hill SB Nation Network. So I do that weekly, covering the team. And yeah, I became a Pitt fan when I went to school there, and so now I watch the team, and it's not always pleasant. In fact, it's often not. But it's what we love, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll talk a little bit more about Pitt later on, especially some former alumni that I want to bring up that's been doing wrong here in the city of Atlanta. But hey, we'll talk about that. Hey, if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. Share this content out with Atlanta sports fanatics. And hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. All right, King, man, what's going on in college sports?
All right, man. So we got some good news for UGA fans. So they went and got the nation's number 2 cornerback, Nyland Green. He has officially committed to UGA. That's good to help out that defense. Because apparently that defense was supposed to be good this year, but we ain't gonna talk about it. Kirby Smart is looking to finish in the top 3 in recruiting this year, ranking for the 5th consecutive year. He'll be in the top 3. That's gonna be good. Get them some recruits. They've always
they need to win though, and that number ain't gonna keep staying. He's not gonna continue to be in the top 5 if they can't win.
Did you see that post? It was going around on Twitter, comparing him and Nick Saban.
Yeah, he's being recruited on Saban, right?
No. It was like wins and under the SEC in their first 5 years or something like that. I'm gonna send it to you later, but they was comparing him to Nick Saban.
I won't compare. I won't compare anybody to Nick Saban, man. That's like comparing Coke to Big K drinks. Like, no, like stop playing, y'all.
I'm gonna send it to you later though, because I looked at it and I was just like, it was like the first 5 years or something like that. It wasn't like the full year, the full tenure, but it was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Red shirt sophomore Ozzy Ajaluri. Oh, I'm sorry if I messed your name up. I'm sorry, sir. Has been added to the semifinalists for the Buckets Award. That makes now 3 semifinalists for the Buckets Award. We talked about Kobe Dean and Monty Rice last week. So that's good that they getting all these players on defense to get nominated for these awards. But when does that translate to wins? That's the most important thing. Ben Cleveland named SEC Offensive Lineman Player of the Week. They got to play Missouri this week. Missouri been racking up points, 91 points in the last 2 games. We just talked about UGA defense. So
who did what are those 2 games that Mizzou played against?
Let me go look that up. But
real quick.
But yeah, so Georgia State, Calais Brown, the 4th, is one of the 8 quarterbacks to receive the Manning Award, Star of the Week. Also received Fresh 4 nod for standout freshman.
Yeah, they played against Vanderbilt and they pretty much beat them 41-0, and then they beat Arkansas. They almost lost against Arkansas 50-48. So yeah, they ain't played nobody.
But
ain't gonna do
91
that.
points is 91 points. You gotta still put up the points.
I get it, but still, like Vanderbilt, like I'm pretty sure there's some high school teams out there that can put up 35 points against Vandy, and then they got to deplete the team anyway. So,
okay, I'll give you that one. But hey, we gonna see what UGA defense gonna do.
yeah.
Brown had a career high, 370 yards, and the go-ahead touchdown run to beat Georgia Southern 2 weeks ago. Georgia Southern season is over. How you think their season went?
Compared to last year, not good. I had high hopes in the Eagles, but they didn't soar high this year. It just to me it's been disappointment because Showerts, Kennedy, all those guys at defense, like they should have technically been in the if not winning the Sun Belt, they should have been like second place in the Sun Belt.
That is true.
Because they're a highly talented team, and for them to go out there this season and just lose like that, and I think keeping that offensive coordinator there that long, man, it hurt them. They should have been got rid of that man, but hey, that's just me.
Hey, that is true. It looks like all Eagles mascots are not looking good. Fly Eagles fly, right? All right, Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State. Can Southern stay undefeated at home? They got to pay App. Georgia Southern also fired their offensive coordinator, Bob DeBest. So how do you think that they rack up against App State and staying undefeated?
It's gonna be a tough test. It's gonna be a tough test to them. I don't think they winning against App State.
What you think? I was thinking like a low scoring 17-14 game, honestly.
It's gonna be kind of a little higher than that. I think App State gonna put up at least 24, 27 points.
Okay. No. Hey, I guess I like App State, but it's just one of those teams where they hit and miss. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and it's just not a good program, consistent program.
Yeah.
The Florida Atlantic game last week was postponed against Middle Tennessee. And then we get the Georgia Tech versus Pitt. You want to take over from there?
Yeah. All right. So this game right here, all right, we playing in the home finale. Presley Harvin III, the punter. 1 out of 10 semifinals for the Ray Guy Award. Tech has won 5 straight night games at Bobby Dodd Stadium. So that is a good stat right there. So it sounds like we could be a favorite coming in this Saturday. So let's see. So yeah, the game this Saturday is going to be 7 p.m. on the flats, and that game will be televised on the ACC network. So everybody just go ahead and watch that because you got UGA at noon, and then you got a Tech at night. So ain't no, well, I want to watch this game. Watch both because this is going to be it right here. This is it. So, all right. So let's go ahead and start talking about this game. Pitt started 3-0. And I thought you guys was going to be real good this year. And y'all was ranked in the top 25 as well. What happened? Why y'all 5-5? I'm not here to we're not here to dog your team. We just wanted to know because like y'all looked real, especially last year in the season, how y'all did last year. Y'all look really good. I'm thinking like the old pick back. I'm thinking Johnny Majors. Y'all done dug that man up, spirit up, and he out there coaching. Like, what's going on, man?
So it's really a combination of things. I mean, the first thing is this phenomenon called pitting, which is that Pitt has, really with all sports, but football especially, Pitt has a unique ability to lose games in heartbreaking fashion that they should win. Sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes it's a game they have no right to win, and they come out on top. They beat Clemson the year that the Tigers won the national championship when they were ranked number 2. That was in Death Valley, the last team actually to beat Clemson in Death Valley. They beat Miami when they were number 2 a couple of years ago. So they take down some really good teams, but they also blow it against, in games that they should win. So they were 3-0. They were ranked, and then they play NC State They went up by, I think it was 5 points with like just over a minute to go. Everyone would have thought they'd win that game, especially because Pitt's got a good defense. And then they let NC State march down the field and score a go-ahead touchdown with like 18 seconds left. So they blew that game. And then a week later, they've got Boston College, and the kicker who hit like a 60-yarder to send it into overtime missed an extra point in overtime, and that lost the game. So those two games, they lost by a point each. They really should have won both games, and it was a heartbreaker for a lot of Pitt fans. So, but that's what, that's pitting. That's just what Pitt fans are accustomed to. And then outside of that, they just played three really good teams. I mean, you've got, after that, they had Miami, really good team this year. Notre Dame is obviously a top 3 team. And then Clemson, about a week and a half ago, is a top 3 team. So part of it, 3 losses, there's not too much you can do this season when you're playing Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. They're just that good this year. But the NC State and the Boston College losses are brutal. I wonder, if they just won those 2 games, they got 2 points more in each of those games, people would be talking about this team like they are really good. Like they are one of those, old school Pitt teams from the 70s or 80s. It didn't happen. They lost those 2 games, football, it's a game of inches. So because of that, the record is mediocre. The team hasn't looked so good. That's just how it breaks. But, 3 of the losses understandable, 2 of them not so much.
So let me ask you this, though. You call it pitting. We call it falconing in Atlanta because we like to blow leads too.
Yep.
So why do you think that is? Is that coaching, or what do you think it is?
I don't think it's coaching just because it's happened with multiple coaches. It's happened in multiple sports. I mean, I know with the Falcons, it's you're wondering, is it a Dan Quinn thing? Is it someone else?
It was Dan Quinn in the GM. And I'm here to tell you that. So.
Okay, so maybe it's maybe it's over now. They look better. So there's that. With Pitt, it's happened with multiple coaches. It happened with Paul Chryst, who is now the head coach at Wisconsin. He was at Pitt before. It happened before that. It's happened with Pitt basketball.
Yeah, I had Dave Wanstead.
Dave Wanstead, the main reason he got fired was back in, I want to say 2009. It was before I got there. But they could have made the Big East championship, and they were about to beat Cincinnati, and they blew it, and Cincinnati made it, and that was it. And so that sort of led to the demise, and a year later, he was fired. So, I think, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a curse or it's something eternal. It's not just one coach, though. It's been a weird phenomenon that's happened for years.
Yeah. Well, it's just, and you got schools like Pitt, schools like SMU. We know what happened with SMU in the 80s with the with the death penalty with them. And you can also make an argument with Miami right now. Like, is y'all powerhouses back in the day, and like now it's just
even Texas, Michigan. I mean, some of these schools.
Man, do not bring up Michigan, man.
Please don't bring up Michigan.
I'm a Michigan fan. And like, man, I'm just, do not get me started. They ain't even playing this week. So that right there, I wanted to play Ohio State so that way we can fire Harbaugh. Now they might not even fire this man because he ain't even playing Ohio State. But whatever.
I think he's still gone, but we'll see. But there are these programs that were really good for a time. And they can still be pretty good, but there's just something that prevents them from getting to that next level. And I think Pitt's one of them. I mean, they haven't had, a ton of success this century, but, when they're pretty good, they still always come up a little bit short.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so let me ask you this. All right. Y'all have allowed 93.1 rushing yards per game, which is the first in the ACC and 5th in the nation. Why is that a key factor in this game?
Well, that's their MO. That's Pitt's defensive mentality, is they're going to stop the run. They're not even going to let it get started. They will not allow the opponent to establish a rushing game. Clemson, did a good job. Some of the really good teams have tried, but still nothing sensational. I think last week, Pitt played Clemson, and then they played Virginia Tech a week later, and I think they had twice as many rushing yards against Tech as they did against Pitt. So even against really good teams, that's what Pitt is focused on. And it's not even really just the players. I mean, the players have come and gone, but the mentality is the same this year as it was last year and really the year before that. Pat Narduzzi is a defensive guy. He came to Pitt from Michigan State as the defensive coordinator. He won the Broyles Award for best coordinator in the country one year. And that's his thing. I mean, the problems with Pitt, it's been on the offensive end almost exclusively, and that's a major problem. On defense, they're really good. They've got the defensive line coach, Partridge. He's phenomenal. And Pat Narduzzi has a really good scheme. He's got a good staff, and it's just all about not allowing the opponent to establish a rushing game, creating pressure, getting after it. That causes a lot of, a very small running game for the opponent, causes a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles for loss. Exactly. It's a really good, attacking, aggressive defense.
And I like that type of defense. Like if you can stop the run, you make the opposing offense one dimensional, and they don't have no other choice but to go up in the air.
And sometimes that'll still be enough, as we've seen this year. And the secondary has some problems with Pitt, but you're not really going to see the Panthers lose because the other team runs past them or runs through them. It's going to be they stop the run game and they play pretty well against the pass, but every now and again they'll give up a big play.
So why do you think this offense sputters at times and it's just not good then?
It's just about everything except the quarterback. Kenny Pickett, he's a senior. He's probably going. It'll be a mid-level pick in the NFL. He's really talented. He's got a lot of grit, a lot of heart, and he just never gives up on a play. He'll put his body out there, put his body on the line for the team, and he's gotten a lot better over the years. So he's really good. Everyone else, it's tough. The offensive coordinator, for the most part, is really unimaginative. And I don't know if he's going to make it past this year. Pitt hasn't had a good offensive coordinator in years now. The running game, for the most part, hasn't been good at all. The offensive lineman has struggled a lot, the offensive line. And the receivers, there's talent there, but for every one great game that someone has, then they fall off the map. DJ Turner is a transfer from Maryland, a grad transfer from Maryland. And he had a monster game. He had like 14 receptions a couple of weeks ago. And then the next game he had like 1. I mean, it was crazy. He had just a huge game against Florida State, and that was it. And then Jordan Addison, he's a freshman for Pitt, and he's a really good player, and he's got a ton of talent, the most talent for a Pitt wide receiver since Tyler Boyd. And he will have a huge game and then just be nowhere to be found the next game. So it's a combination of things, but whatever it is, they're never able to put it together. Rarely, I should say. Sometimes they'll have a good rushing game. They'll be able to figure that out. Sometimes they'll have a receiver like Turner or Addison go off. Kenny Pickett can do some stuff, but it's just not. The last couple of weeks, it's been better than it had been, but it's still just it's not a very good offense.
Yeah, that inconsistency is why y'all honestly are 5-5 because it's just some games y'all do good, and then other games, like you stated earlier, the defense just forgets what's going on, and then y'all can't score or y'all don't have enough time to score. So that's not good on the offensive coordinator's part. But
because
is it really his fault, or is it just they're not executing sometimes?
I mean, it's sort of a mixture. I don't know if it'll be enough to keep his job, the offensive coordinator leading into next year. But, it's definitely on the players, too. I will say they have looked better. I mean, outside of the Clemson game, which you can only do so much against Clemson, they scored 41 against Florida State and 47 against Virginia Tech. So they did look a lot better. But early in the season, the offense against mediocre teams like Syracuse, NC State's okay, Boston College.
Syracuse, like, I once called them that. I won't call them mediocre. They should be above average, in my opinion. Dino Babers is a hell of a coach.
He is.
I love his offense.
Went off the rails.
Yeah, and COVID. A lot of players opted out, and injuries. Like they just not doing well like they supposed to this year. So, but
I think they found the right coach. It was just a bad year for them.
Yeah, I agree. But like that's the thing with the ACC. Like you have to play, defense win games, but in the ACC you don't put up points. Like the game is gonna step out your hands.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Weaver is not playing. How will that affect this game?
Rashad Weaver's leaving early. He's going to go, hopefully to the NFL. And this has sort of been the case this year for Pitt defensive players. I mean, entering this year, Pitt was supposed to have the best defense, really the best team, but especially the best defense this century, because they were coming off 2 really good years with a lot of talent, on defense. And this year, they weren't really losing guys. And there were a lot of seniors on the team, a lot of guys who you thought they're going to ball out this year, then go to the NFL. And they've just lost a couple of them. So, going into the year, it seemed like all these guys are coming back. It should be a huge year. Before the season started, Jalen Twyman, who was one of the best defensive linemen in the ACC last season, he decided to opt out. Part of it's because of COVID. Part of it's just to get ready for the draft. But for whatever reason, he decided to opt out. Makes sense, and hopefully he'll go really high in the draft. So you're missing probably your best defensive lineman. He's a stellar player who can get a ton of sacks. Then a couple of weeks ago during Pitt's bye week, Paris Ford, who's the star safety on the team, he decided to opt out for the rest of the season. Again, part of it is COVID. Part of it is the team wasn't doing what everyone expected. There wasn't a chance they were going to make an ACC championship game, and he figured, probably he could just get ready for the NFL draft and not miss a ton. So they were without Twyman, without Paris Ford, and now without Rashad Weaver, who, again, is a hell of a player. He was injured pretty much all of last season. He came back this year. He really impressed on the field. I think he got his draft stock up to the point where he will be an NFL draft pick and hopefully have a good career there. And so, he figured he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. Doesn't need to play this final game. And again, completely understandable. And so he's going to miss this game. With Pitt's defense, though, so far, it really has been next man up. It's been, okay, no Jalen Twyman. He's, best player. He's gone. Next man up. Let's put someone in there. Paris Ford is gone as a safety. Next man up. And now I think it'll be the same with Rashad Weaver. The talent, there's not an obvious replacement. There's not an obvious backup. On paper, you'd think, yeah, they're going to miss him a ton. But you would have thought that with Twyman and with Ford. And this Pitt defense is still really good. So I don't know if it's the scheme, the defensive coordinator. Like I said, the D-line coach, Charlie Partridge, he's been stellar. And but whatever it is, it's just next man up. They found a scheme. They found a system that they'll have great players, but it's not reliant on 1 or 2 or we'll see even 3 star defensive players. So we'll see. I think they'll still be really good, but he's one hell of a player. He's got a ton of talent. They'll miss him.
So you don't think when y'all miss players, it affects the defense at all?
I would have thought. I mean, entering the season, when Jalen Twyman said that he wasn't going to play, I would have thought, okay, this defense, he was so good. He was the best D lineman for Pitt since Aaron Donald. He wasn't quite at that level, but he was playing almost like Aaron Donald did at Pitt. And they still played really well on defense. And then a few weeks ago, Paris Ford leaves. And you think, okay, he's their best safety. He's incredibly talented. They're going to miss him a ton. And they only gave up 17 to Florida State and only 14 to Virginia Tech. Neither of those schools are great, but still, the defense did a really good job. They didn't seem to miss him. So, I mean, obviously, you're going to miss a player who's that talented. You're going to miss Rashad Weaver, but I don't think it's going to collapse on the defense because even the mid-level guys, the backups, there's enough talent there and enough talent on the whole team that they'll be able to do some patchwork because they've already done it. I mean, it surprised me that they have stayed as good as they are while losing incredibly talented guys like Twyman and Ford.
And y'all got a couple of, good recruits coming in too. Some good linebackers. So y'all gonna be good. Y'all should be fine.
The
defense is, but the offense is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So, but all right, let's go ahead and get with the predictions, you guys. If you're watching this live, go ahead and post your in the live chat. Let us know your scores for the game. If you're watching this at a later time, hit us up in the comment section and let us know who you got for tomorrow's night game. All right, starting with you, Corey. Who you got tomorrow?
I've got Pitt. I know you had that stat about Bobby Dodd Stadium and the Georgia Tech wins at night games there. I was actually when I was in school, I went to a game at Bobby Dodd, Pitt versus Tech, and it was a night game, and Georgia Tech won. That said, I think Georgia Tech's on the rise. I love Georgia Tech as a school, as a program. I think they're the closest to Pitt culturally in terms of an identity as a school. I think they're both connected. That with both Pitt and Georgia Tech, they're sort of the smaller school. Focused in a city compared to a bigger school that's out, in either more, in the boondocks. At least for Penn State, I haven't been to Athens, so I can't say. But at least for Penn State, middle of nowhere. And so you've got Georgia Tech and Pitt. They're the city schools. They're right in the hubs, and both, a great tradition. A lot of great players have come out of both schools, basketball and football. They've gone to the pros, but just haven't been really good in a long time. And, there's something there. There's potential there. It's a good program, but you're just trying to find the next level. So I always sort of root for Georgia Tech because they really do feel like the Southern version of Pitt. That said, in this game, I won't be. I think Pitt pulls it out. I think they win, I would say something like 24-17. I think it'll be kind of an ugly game. And neither offense, I think, is going to look that good. But, yeah, I'll say Pitt 24-17.
Okay. King?
I'm honestly going to take Pitt, and I'm taking Pitt by like 2 or 3 scores. I don't think this game is going to be close, honestly. I think Pitt's defense is going to step up. They might not. I'm thinking 24-7, 30-10. I don't think Georgia Tech is going to be able to score on this Pitt's defense. I just looking at who Tech has played and how they played this year, I just don't think they'll be able to score. And I'm taking Pitt by 3 scores.
Well, I'm thinking differently. I think this game right here is going to be in Tech's favor, not because of the night game. I just think it's the last game of the season. I'm going with Tech 21-17. 21-17.
I wouldn't be surprised if either one of you were right. Pitt's just totally unpredictable.
Yeah. I just like Pitt. For something's telling me that Pitt's going to win this game, and I just like Pitt.
I like the defense, but same time, I don't think y'all gonna put up enough points to win the game because Tech can score. We've seen it happen, and all it takes is just, one false move by a defensive lineman or somebody on y'all defense to just let somebody just run through and go for a big game. So, all right. Before we end the show, I got some questions to ask you. What year did you graduate Pitt?
I graduated 2015.
Okay, so you're not old enough to really remember back in the 90s.
No, I mean, I've learned about it, but no, I wasn't. I was not like a Pitt fan then or anything.
All right, because it's weird to me. I know y'all play at Heinz Stadium, but I remember Pitt Stadium back in the day, and watching the games on TV here in Atlanta. I'm like, man, that crowd was crazy. And then y'all went to a college in the stadium. It was nice. It was old, and I know they tore it down or whatever. To NFL size stadium. I thought you remember the stuff back then, but I just wanted to see if you remember the atmosphere at the old.
Not personally, but I mean, people wax nostalgic about it all the time. I'll say this: part of it is that the Pitt Stadium held, I think, 40,000 and change. I mean, it was a good size, maybe 30,000, almost 40,000. It was a good size for Pitt and for a school in a city. Georgia Tech has won. There aren't a ton of schools that are in cities that have pro teams. It's tough. Now they're in a major sports city, pro city, and sharing the stadium with the Steelers. It's like 70,000 people. You're just not going to fill that unless Pitt's like a top 10 team. You're just not going to, or they're playing a heated rival. You're not going to fill that. Obviously, in the normal non-COVID years. So part of it is just the stadium. It's just too big for Pitt. I get why they did it. They've got a great basketball arena on campus now. football stadium. There's nowhere really else to put it. There's just not a ton of room. It's in the neighborhood with Pitt's campus. It's very dense. So there's just not really room. I mean, on basketball game days, traffic was always crazy. And that's like 13,000 people. So if you've got a 40,000 person stadium on football games, that's really tough. So people love Pitt Stadium, people who were there for the time, and they'll always say that was the greatest thing that happened to Pitt football, and losing it was like the death of a loved one. I never experienced it. I get it. I wish that Pitt played in a smaller stadium that they could fill again in normal years. But, it can't really be on campus just because of how tight, the city is.
Yeah, but take it off campus. And here's my thing. I remember Tulane playing in the Louisiana Superdome. Yeah. I remember Minnesota playing in the Triple H Metrodome. And both teams, they left those stadiums, and they built stadiums on campus. And, and look at Minnesota right now. Minnesota, they benefiting from that. And I don't know about Tulane that much, but really Tulane is just not a good program. It was in the late 90s when they had, Sean Keane and all those guys. They was rolling out quarterbacks who pretty much mount to anything in the NFL, but whatever. But yeah, I feel like y'all should have your own stadium, It'd be nice for the school.
It would be. I mean, and they've got a good deal with the Steelers, so they actually co-own the facilities and they share everything 50-50. It's not like they just rent. Because I live outside of Philly. Temple they play where the Eagles play, but they just rent it. So they just put some red stuff all over, and they just rent, and that's it. With Pitt, they share a training facility, they share a gym, a cap. It's not where the stadium is. It's in a different part of the city, but they share practice fields, they share a gym, they share a cafeteria. That part of the partnership is really beneficial. James Conner, I'm reading.
I was gonna bring him up too. I was gonna bring him up. Like he knew everything was that he had no transition or nothing.
100%. I'm reading his book right now, and I was there when he was there. And yeah, it's literally you go to the other side of the building, but you know where everything is. It's the same weight room. It's the same, practice. All that stuff is exactly the same. And so they just feel natural. They get recruits because they're like, hey, if I want to go to the NFL, I'm right next to these NFL players. I can learn from them. Exactly. And so that part's really beneficial. The stadium, it's decent, but yeah, it's just too big for Pitt. So, I get the partnership. It's overall, I think, good. But yeah, the stadium's too big.
All right. This next question, be honest. Megatron was Calvin Johnson or Larry Fitzgerald?
Got to be Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, Megatron might have had the best single season. I mean, when he peaked, he was unreal. But the career of Larry Fitzgerald, it's unmatched, except Jerry Rice. I mean, as a career, it is sort of almost like a Jerry Rice versus Randy Moss sort of a thing. Mm. One guy who peaked and had a couple really great seasons versus the guy who's been really good for a whole bunch of years. Larry Fitzgerald, I mean, he should have won the Heisman at Pitt. Everyone in Pittsburgh pretty much agrees with that. Lost to Jason White from Oklahoma.
Trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Trash. But let me tell you something. I agree he should have won, but you know who else should have won that year though?
Who?
Chris Perry. My boy Chris Perry, yes.
I still take Larry Fitzgerald that year, but it's over his career. What he's done is just so remarkable, and he's done it as different. In different roles. He's been the guy who can go make stellar plays and 50-yard bombs down the field. But now later in his career, he's still really good as that dependable receiver who can get you 10 yards at a time. And the intangibles, I think, is where number one for him. There's that stat where he has more tackles in the NFL than drops. So there have been more times where the Cardinals have either fumbled or thrown an interception, and he has tackled the guy with the football than times he has dropped the football.
That's Julio Jones, right? That's Julio Jones right there.
Yeah, it's unreal. And always when they're running a 2-minute drill, he'll always be the guy. He always knows to get out of bounds, or if he stays in bounds, he'll always hand the ball to the official, run back to the line of script. he's that guy that you want on your team, and he's like the number one role model for Pitt. He's the best. So I take Larry Fitzgerald all day. I love Megatron, but I take Larry Fitzgerald.
I love Larry Fitzgerald too, on and off the field. Great guy. I read the story about him, his family and everything. But I'm, far as like receiver, I gotta choose Megatron, man. Like, I feel like if he was on any other team besides Detroit Lions, and we seen the Lions run players to the ground, look at Barry Sanders. No said. The man pretty much retired in his prime.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I feel like Megatron, we seen the crazy catches he made and everything. And, like, there was rumors, and I don't know if they were true or not, after that 2017 season, that he wanted to come to Atlanta and play for the Falcons. And I'm like, I don't know about that, because, like, where he going to take his snaps at? And then on top of that, as far as money, unless he – want to come to Atlanta for a little small deal, then yeah. But I know he's in a happy place right now. Like we tell people, man, life is, there's other things bigger than football out there. So, but I gotta choose my boy Megatron. But I do get it though. Arizona, he out there, Fitzgerald out there in Arizona. Other quarterbacks he had Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. He had Carson Palmer, who I think is an underrated quarterback. Now he got Kyler Murray, but Hop out there now, so they transitioning Hop to be that leader receiver, and Fitzgerald probably gonna ride out the sunset after this season. I don't really see him playing this year, man. He
could though. He could
play 5 more years. He looks great. He's more healthy. He stays in more shape than we see a lot of injuries with Julio, but I ain't heard anything about Larry being hurt them so much. Like, and he's almost 30? He over 35, like 37?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
he's way up there.
Yeah, because when he was drafted like older than other players because he served in the military.
No, he went to like a military high school. It was actually really, really close to where I lived, but it was like a military high school, Valley Forge. And then he went to Pitt, but he was at Pitt for 2 years because back then you could leave after 2 instead of 3. But yeah, he's right now he's 37. So
yeah, I want to say he's like 37.
Yeah.
So. All right, Key, what you was about to say?
Next time we talk about drop passes, please don't bring up Julio because he dropped a lot of passes.
Man, stop.
He dropped a lot of passes, man.
It happens, man. Like it
love Julio to death, but he dropped a lot of passes.
It happens, man. But anyway, one more question. Quadre Olesen. This is who the person I want to bring up. Now, I seen tape on him when he played at Pitt. Great running back. Now, I don't think he was good like James Conner.
Right.
But he was close, to that, running back style. And how do you feel? I just want your opinion. How do you feel about Quadre Olesen's situation here with the Falcons? Because guess what? He's been inactive pretty much all season. I think he only had one game that he was active, and I don't even think he got that many snaps.
Yeah, I mean it stinks because he's got talent. Now, I agree, he's not James Conner. I don't think he's a starting running back in the NFL, but he's a quality guy. I mean, he's a guy that in the red zone, you give it to him, a couple other plays, he could break something off. I saw there was a game, it was after I graduated, but I was there against Virginia Tech, and he broke off, I think it was like a 98-yard run.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that on tape.
Yeah, he's really talented, a really good guy. I think he's a really good sort of number 2 running back, as like a complementary player to a star. But yeah, he's been hurt all this year. And on paper, I would say, yeah, Todd Gurley, he fit really well with Todd Gurley. It just hasn't really clicked, but I'm still hopeful. I mean, I do think he's a good player. I think Atlanta's a good spot for him. He's just got to stay healthy.
Well, he ain't been hurt. That's the thing. Like the team is not in. The team is not playing him. They not suing him up for game day.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah, he's healthy. There's nothing wrong with the man.
Okay, then I don't get that because when he's played, like he's been pretty good. Again, not a great player, but he's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get that.
I don't get it either. Like we wasting draft picks on people just to sit on the bench. I don't get it. And like Todd Gurley was out. He's been hurt too.
Right.
Like, and we just have Brian Hill, Ito Smith. Ito Smith been having concussion problems pretty much majority of his career. So really, Brian Hill been running the rock for the most part. And I'm like, why are we not putting in Quadre?
Yeah, he's a good player. That makes no sense to me. I thought he was hurt just because I haven't seen him play. No. In the last couple of years, you know, his rookie season, stuff like that. Like I said, he's a good player. He's not great, but he'll have a big play here or there. He can score touchdowns. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just want to make thank you because I know I ain't crazy. I know King ain't crazy neither because we be all asking the same question like why Quadre is still like why is he not playing? Why they not activating this man? And he ain't the only one. It's another player on there too, on the team too, DJ Sanat, that we drafted back in 2017, and he ain't playing. Like it's just not a good. That's why I'm glad we about to get a new GM and head coach because yes, we got to address some issues about this team.
The Falcons hit rock bottom. I think they're going to come up starting next year.
Thank you. Yes, we all hope. Yeah, I have faith in the team. If they make the right hires like they need to, no doubt we'll be back. But if they come out and they hire the wrong GM that want to do a fire sale and put us in cap hell, then it's gonna be a while till we can say rise up or whatever. So, but. Appreciate you coming on, man. Once again, let everybody know who you are, where they can find you.
Yeah, so again, my name's Corey Cohen. You can find me on Twitter mostly at Corey E. Cohen, CoreyECohen. Like I said, I do play-by-play in the Philly area mostly. I do basketball, I do soccer, I do a handful of sports. But like I said, I also talk about Pitt. And whatever else is going on. But thank you guys for having me. And also Georgia, everyone who's watching this in Georgia, I'm sure you've heard it a million times. I'm sure it's all over, commercials and all that there. Huge runoff coming up on January 5th, 2 Senate elections. So make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you go out and vote by January 5th. Like I said, I'm sure you've heard it a million times, but I'm up here in Pennsylvania. So, for us, everything's over, but Georgia's got a big responsibility coming up. So
yeah, thank you. Go vote. Yes, go vote. And by the way, I love y'all Lieutenant Governor, man. That man is hilarious. That man he had me rolling. This man, you ain't seen him. You ain't never seen the Lieutenant Governor King of Pennsylvania. No. You need to look like him up. Player. No, this man looked like a WWE star. This man looked like Tyson Taco, Big Show. Like for real, this man he 6'10".
Yeah.
No way.
Look it up. I'll kid you not. When we get out this live, look him up, man. They talking about he the lieutenant because I remember in the election they said the Republican leader for Pennsylvania was supposed to be meeting with the lieutenant governor about fraud or whatever, and they showed the side by side, and I'm like, I'm gonna pray for that guy.
Yeah. John Fetterman is his name, and he's the man. He was mayor of a town outside of Pittsburgh. He's like 6'10". His wife is an immigrant from Brazil. He lives in a converted car warehouse. He's the man. He talks about sports all the time on Twitter. He's totally unfiltered. He's the furthest. He's the furthest thing from a normal politician. He's hilarious. He's awesome.
He's down to earth. You can literally have a conversation with this man, and he won't social intelligence or anything like that. He's very blunt. This is somebody I sit down now. I hang out with him. He's invited to the cookout. Put it like that.
Yeah, he's totally just normal guy. But he could tackle you.
Yeah, he can probably choke slam you, do everything.
Probably 6'10", 330.
Yes.
Yeah, he is big.
He's a big guy. But yeah, no, he's great, and he was all over the election stuff. But obviously, and he was like on CNN and all that stuff, and that was going on. But now it's all on Georgia. So everyone down there, if you're watching, make sure you vote because it's all to Georgia.
Yes, go out there and vote next month. Get it done. Let's go. All right. Appreciate everybody watching this live. The game tomorrow, so make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night to watch the game. Also, we'll be back tomorrow. Unfortunately for Tech fans, but for Falcons fans and everybody else, we will be live tomorrow at 8:30, talking about the Chargers versus Falcons game this Sunday. So stay tuned for that. I call it a virtual tailgate. That's what I'm calling it, just like we did last week when we had the arch rivalry or enemy in the on the live stream. Yeah, whatever. But tune in tomorrow for that. So appreciate it. If you're watching this at a later time, hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the game tomorrow night. So we appreciate that. We will reply back to your comments. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other college sports fanatics. All right. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. It's your boy, The Don, with my co-host, King. We out. Y'all have a great night. See y'all tomorrow.
Love yourself.
Tell them put the house on me.